Welcome to an incomplete guide to personal growth. We invite you to take a breath and take a listen to our podcast that explores the wonder, humor, challenges, and sometimes those self-inflicted wounds on the journey of personal growth.
Our weekly podcast conversations include stories, resources, and tools that you can incorporate into your daily life. We're the mother-daughter duo of Sydney West
and Kelly Arrendell.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, Sid.
How are you?
I am good. We've got a special guest.
Yes, we do. Hi, Dan.
Hello.
Yes. Okay. So we have my dad, your husband, here today. We're continuing our topic on crucial conversations. And you,
Which is just
Yeah.
ironic that the three of us are having a discussion about communication.
Yeah.
Because in our family, it just things get lost.
Yeah.
You'll say, when, because Paul travels a lot, and he'll tell me when he's going and when he's coming back, but I don't write it down right, or I don't get it. And they'll say, when's Dad coming back?
Oh.
I don't know. So I have to text. Now, what time's your flight again? What's you?
So we'll be like, oh, when's Dad leaving? Oh, he's leaving Sunday. Oh, but I thought it was Monday, but he's doing this. And so it gets so lost.
Yeah. So we don't know if it's him or us. But
Both. That's fine.
So it's kind of funny. But I think that's the thing with families. You just get too casual sometimes.
And then
you say something in passing, and
you just don't remember.
you don't remember.
No.
Or I think he told me, but he didn't. Or I think he, didn't, and he did. So
it's a good topic for us.
it is. Luckily, those aren't crucial conversations.
No, luckily not.
No.
So, yes, we're continuing our crucial conversations kind of series. So, last week we talked with Jennifer Kennedy, and she kind of talked to us a little bit more about like workplace crucial conversations, and she kind of touched a little bit on personal ones, but we just wanted to kind of delve into, growing up, I know you mentioned the book all the time, and we used it for whether it was like at school or with friends or what, like we would use like the tips that you would always tell us. And so let's start with this. People, I can't explain what you do. So you can give your background on yourself, and then also kind of get into how you yourself got introduced to crucial conversations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. So I'm a mechanical engineer by training, and I got into that profession because I like process.
Yeah.
And really enjoy, taking something and transforming it in some way, but always follow a standard process is typically how I got into it. And so I've done a lot of designs on equipment, putting semiconductors together with robots and vision systems. I've put together manufacturing lines for the automotive industry to build air handling equipment for cars and for trucks. And then I got into medical technology, and the company that I worked for at the time, there was a lot of training, and one of the training classes they held was Crucial Conversations. And again, it was about a process.
Yeah.
And there's conflicts at work that occur, conflicts in your personal life that occur, and it really transformed the way I approached people. So a lot of times you think this is the way it needs to be. And being an engineer, I kind of think this is the way it needs to be, correct? But what I realized is there are other approaches, and how we get to inclusion and diversity, equity of thought, that type of thing, is to take the other person's or person that you may be interfacing with, to take their context in mind. And so a lot of what I carry through with this Crucial Conversations process are things like make it safe, master your story.
Yes.
That's a big one.
Jennifer,
for that.
she touched on that.
So critical. And then how do you make it safe, or how do you listen to the other person is what is their context? So one of the questions that I'll always remember is, why would a reasonable, rational person be acting this way
Yeah.
or be saying something this way.
That is,
I've heard
like,
that.
I've heard that so many
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
There's context and something that you don't know about the other person's story that you need to dive into and understand. And so in my career, I continue to do this. I work for a manufacturer of medical devices and all kinds of medical devices. And so you're dealing with a lot of different companies. And in dealing with those customers, they have a way they would like something to happen. And in areas where maybe they don't really understand fully the manufacturing capability that we have, then I need to have that story mastered and prepared to have a crucial conversation to help them see it in a different way. So
Maybe this isn't the time, maybe it is. I'd be, especially dealing with in personal life. The making it safe stands out to me.
Yeah. Yeah, can you delve into how you do that?
So I tend to be a pretty even-keeled person.
Yeah.
I don't get too excitable, and I don't get too low either, right? Sometimes my expressions can give me away. A smile, right? Or a smirk.
Yes. I've seen one.
But the thing that I think about is I want to keep the other person's feelings. Maybe I don't understand them, but keep them in mind as I'm having a conversation. So the way I make it safe is I don't use attacking language.
Yeah.
You have to. You must. This is how it is. You know, I don't attack the other person.
Yeah.
And I tend to put things on myself.
Right.
And a lot of times I'll say, and other training I've had is, this is how it occurred for me.
Yeah.
Right? So I use that language as opposed to, this is what you made me feel like.
Yeah.
Right?
Because then it gets them
Because now this
defensive.
person says, well, that's not at all, right?
Yeah.
But if you use words like, this is how it occurred for me, right? Then that tends to make it safe.
And makes it feel safer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
I like that. Yeah.
So you learned this in a work context,
Environment.
right? Work environment. And so you did that training, and then have you just like kept up with reviewing the book all the time? Like, did you do more training on it? Like how?
Yeah. So if I need to have a crucial conversation, even though I know the process pretty well, I always go back.
Really?
And there's a worksheet that I go through.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's available in the book, and you can find it online too. And just you can do a search on crucial conversations checklist, that kind of thing.
So Jennifer said that she thought the hardest step was the mastering your story. Do you think that, or do you think a different step is harder?
No, I mean, I think it depends on the person who's trying to have the crucial conversation, right? Because if you tend to get, excitable during your conversation, maybe the make it safe is going to be hard.
Yeah.
Right? Because you tend to get, I don't use the word emotional, but passionate. Right? And then that begins to be seen as, oh, now they're attacking. Right? So at least that's my opinion.
Yeah.
But it is important. It's a really critical piece of it, because if you don't know what you want for yourself or why you want it for yourself, that's why mastering your story is so important, because there could be something you think, I need to have a crucial conversation, and you may even think crucial conversation.
Yeah, I mean,
so like, I just need to have a talk with this person, right? And if you don't know exactly what you're needing out of that conversation, then how are you going to have a conversation that's meaningful?
Yeah, it doesn't like diverge to other things, and
and then you may realize, well, this isn't at all what I wanted, right? And then you walk away, think, well, I got nothing out of that. So it's so critical to that is an important part, and it can be difficult, because sometimes you have to reflect and look inward to say, what's important for me.
Definitely.
So in the work environment, I know it can be very difficult to have those conversations. So then you take that out of the work environment, and maybe you're dealing with family or somebody else close to you. To me, that there's a whole different dynamic into play. So how does that translate, and how maybe you can give an example, or how difficult that is?
I think part of the difficulty comes from this person well,
Yeah.
as opposed to I'm just interfacing with somebody at work.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, in some cases, I know work people well too, right?
Yeah.
And I think the other piece of it is people don't necessarily know crucial conversation. And so if you go and approach a loved one or a family friend or whatever and say, I need to have a crucial conversation with you, that could be looked upon as not making it safe.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
What's so crucial?
What's so crucial?
And why are you using the word conversation?
Yeah.
Or may I speak with you? Or
Right.
may I
So
talk with
how's
you? Right?
another way to approach somebody when you're needing to?
Well, part of it is there's something I'd like to share. Right. And again, it's on you as opposed to the other person.
Yeah.
There's something I'd like to share and it's important to me.
Yeah.
Right. And so maybe that person begins to get a little bit more involved because
Yeah.
it's because they know you and they like you.
And should care
and
about
and,
you.
and it's important to me. So
Yeah.
it maybe puts them and gives them some importance to it as well.
Yeah.
So that's how I tend to start a
do it.
conversation like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so not really I don't really have a good example right off the
Yeah.
top of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think sometimes because I've done this for so long now that I think I have conversations. Sometimes I don't realize it might be one of those
one of those
It might be one
crucial
of those.
conversations.
So that's what I was wondering. It's like you've done it so much, and you mentioned you have a worksheet you'll go back to if you really need to. But then, does it feel like almost everyday conversations? Sometimes you just have these tools, like so well known that you're able to kind of keep a conversation from getting too heated, or like a conversation kind of like on a good path. Do they feel kind of second nature?
It tends to be for me
Yeah.
that way. I've brought a few notes
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah.
So because one of the things out of the book, there's a couple of cool acronyms that they use. And one,
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yeah, yeah. Jennifer mentioned all that.
yeah, it's great. But one is state your purpose, right? And there's this acronym STATE, and it's share your facts, tell your story, right? So that's the master your story. Ask for the other's path. So how do you see this? Or how has it occurred for you? Same kind of language.
Yeah,
This is the
yeah.
way how has it occurred for you, right? Talk tentatively. So sometimes you have a question, or you might, I hear this in presentations at work all the time. Somebody will say a phrase or make a statement, and at the end of it, they'll say, right? Almost to get you to agree or to nod your head in
Yeah.
affirmation in some way. But you hear somebody at the end of a sentence.
Yes.
And
all the time.
do you know what I mean?
Right?
So that kind of thing. So that's a talk tentatively as opposed to using those attacking words or making statements that are bold and the other person can't contribute, because then you don't have a conversation.
Right.
It's just a
Yeah.
one way.
Yeah.
I'm going to just tell you like it is, right? And then last is encourage testing. So that would be that right thing at the end. Is that how it happened with you?
Yeah. Ask questions. Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And then right behind it is another one called AMP, AMPP. Okay.
Okay.
Ask to get things rolling.
Oh.
Is it okay if I speak with you about this?
Okay.
Right? And the person may not be ready to have a conversation.
Right.
And they may realize this is going to be a tough
Yeah.
conversation. So that to me is
That's
important.
good.
Yeah.
Ask permission
Because you want the other person, to have
to acknowledge and to also participate.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And then the other is a mirror to confirm feelings. So part of that is increases safety by respectfully acknowledging the emotions appear to be feeling, what that person's feeling. So you don't have to reflect exactly the maybe the body language or something
Yeah.
like that, but you just sort of mirror, so you're not being tense,
If
you're
they're-
being relaxed, and
Yeah,
that person
yeah.
begins to tense up. Well, now you have to go to the make it safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Piece,
Yeah.
right?
that
Yeah.
makes
And then the last two, paraphrase to acknowledge the story. So you've just heard that person give you how it occurred for them.
Yeah.
And then part of it is, well, this is what I heard you say.
Right.
Right. So that's another important part of it.
Yeah.
And then finally, prime when you're getting nowhere. So prime is ask questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Say you reflect what that person just, I've used that
Yeah.
word a lot too.
Yes.
Reflect what that person is saying,
Yeah.
right? And then if they just fully stop, you need to prime and ask more questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and that takes I feel like even like so much preparation on your part too, because sometimes the questions don't come to you. I feel like right away. So you almost have to be like, okay, what am I trying to understand about them?
Right.
Because you reflect, okay, I need to understand me. Now, what is it that I need to try and think about from their perspective? Yeah.
And to help complete your own state your purpose is maybe there's questions you need to ask out loud for the other person to hear too.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just kind of occurred to me now.
Like
but
shows your thought process.
and the fact that you've invested time. Don't just say I got to have a conversation and then you have nothing prepared. That's why that worksheet you have to invest time in it, because you may go through it and realize maybe this is the wrong person. Maybe this isn't the one I need to have a conversation with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the midst of this, sometimes, I don't know, I don't always think, and then I'll leave a meeting or conversation, go,
why did I say
so
this?
is it, I mean, and is it okay to pause a conversation? To say, I need to come back to this.
Yeah.
Especially if somebody's come to me for, it goes.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
100%.
And because maybe there's a purpose or something you didn't realize would be one way, right? Mm-hmm. The other is it gets to be escalated.
Yeah.
And now you're into the not make it safe piece, and you don't know how to get out of it. And just say, and the way I've done that, and I've had to do it a couple of times, is we both have a lot of passion about this. I think we need to come back another time.
Yeah.
And have the conversation again, because I'm not prepared to continue right now.
Yeah.
That's the way I would say it. I'm not prepared to continue right now. But you need to, just like at the end of the conversation, when at the very end, you need to say, we're going to come back. Let's come back tomorrow. Let's come back in a week, depending on where the person is, right? And I'll schedule a time, especially if it's at work, it's easy to do, right? But if it's with somebody, let's come back tomorrow and try this one more time, or try this again.
Okay.
But 100%, if it gets to be, and now you're flustered yourself, and then again that conversation goes nowhere, then stop and go back and think.
Okay.
Yeah. That's so good. And I think it's just interesting, like this book, I mean, I'm guessing it was written with workplace stuff in mind, but there's just so many tools that you can really use outside of the workplace for sure too, which I think is cool.
The book was 20, I think if I remember correctly, 20 years in the making. So these 4 people, I think 4 or 5 people that wrote the book, they did a lot of research and they put together, that's how they came up with this process, and say, okay, we're having these conflicts. How have you been successful? Where were you not successful? That kind of thing. So they did a lot of research too.
Oh my gosh.
One of the things you've mentioned, just as we speak about it here at home, is common goal.
Yes, common goal. Yes.
We're not all out for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yep. So what they call about that, they call it mutual purpose.
Okay.
Right. So when I begin a conversation, one of the things, if it needs to be more scripted, let's say, and it may be a group of people, one of the things is we're here to have this conversation about this particular event or this particular issue. What I would like to get out of this conversation today is, right?
Okay.
And if you're the one who, let's just call it leading the conversation, right? Then you need to know what you're going to say, and you begin, because people are going to, I don't know what I want to get out of this conversation, right? But that's how you set that up. And so the mutual purpose at the end is, what I would like to get out of it is that we come to an agreement so that we can actually move forward for X. That kind of thing.
So a simple one I came up with, it was just thinking, what conversation would we have? Like, okay, we all want to go on vacation.
Yes. It's like, this is our...
But we have how many different
5
places.
different 5 different people who want to do things differently too.
So what we all want to be able to enjoy it and have a good,
So part of it is, if it's a family, you want to do something together. Part of it is, I really want you to see, I don't know, say you're going to go to London and you want to see
Yeah.
the British Museum,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
That could be really boring for a lot of people.
Yes.
But to say there's something in the British Museum I really want to see, I think let's
Yeah.
go all to go together because I think you could. And then after, there's
Take
plenty
some-
of other
yeah.
things to go around and that type of thing.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. So that's a simple one, but it can be explosive.
It sure
Yeah.
can
You
be.
know,
Yeah.
any family conversation
Yes.
can.
Oh my
Right,
gosh.
right.
Do you have, before we keep asking questions, do you have other things in your notes that you want to make
To
sure,
make sure we
you express?
Well, I think the very first step, and we touched on it some, but the very first step of this whole process is start with the heart,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Is to really know in your heart of hearts, this is important to me, and I want to have a conversation about it, and the fact that the other one to me too is, why would a reasonable, rational person
Yes.
say this, right? So you got to begin that.
Yeah.
The base is they're reasonable and rational.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So why would they say it this way? And so I continue to ask that same question throughout that process.
Yeah. I've heard that a lot. Well, because you start to
You talk
play,
about,
you
yes.
just play stuff in your head,
Right.
and make assumptions about what people. Yep, make all these assumptions about what
Yes.
people are saying, and you have
Yeah.
to. That's a good question. To always have to come back to. It's like I'm getting I'm making
Yeah.
them unreasonable in my head. Let's get
Yeah.
back to reasonable person. Why would they say it this way? You know.
And-
One of the quotes in the book, and I really
Yeah.
like it, is the pool of shared meaning is a birthplace of synergy. Isn't that powerful?
Yeah.
The pool,
Yeah.
a pool of shared meaning, mutual purpose,
Yeah.
right,
Right.
is a birthplace of synergy.
That's so
Isn't that cool?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great image.
It is,
Love
isn't
it.
it? Yeah. I
That's
like
a
them
good
images too,
image.
so
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That is. Because I think, going back, because just sitting here with two very rational people and process people,
Yes. Yeah.
and then me, I think the so important. You mentioned the heart, you know, and knowing your story, because that is a place for me ahead of time to work through my emotions,
Yeah.
because I like to just spout them, and then
Yeah.
you know, there we are, but to know them.
Yeah.
And to validate them too.
Yes.
I think that's real important to
Yeah.
go, yeah, that is scary. Or you are feeling like you're not heard, or you're feeling weak. Because I think that's
Yeah.
a lot of problem in workplace even, is not being heard.
Yes. Have
And
you
to do that.
have you ever had to help like check the other person's emotions? Have you ever done that in a conversation? Like you're doing okay, but you see them getting more agitated or tense or whatever. Have you ever, I don't know, have you ever like addressed them and like it looks like, or it seems like you're getting really, you know, not passionate, you're getting really passionate.
Or angry.
I'm
or,
not, you know, that's not my intention here. Like, have you had to help somebody kind of reset in a conversation?
I have, you know, part of it could just be about, you know, not a performance review, but maybe somebody's asking about something that's happened within a situation. And I've coached people where, you know, before, I remember years ago, before we had video conferencing for the most part. I mean, we had it in conference rooms but you were on the phone.
Yeah.
Somebody was on the phone.
That's hard.
Right? And then you're sitting around in a conference room and somebody who's on the phone begins to interrupt. Somebody who's on the phone can't see what's going on in the room, right? And so I had a situation where it was somebody that was in my organization and they were on the phone and they were very, very passionate. And so I had to step in and I said, you know, it's beginning to get a little bit heated for me, and I put it on me, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to go back and I'd like to have a conversation with so-and-so and so-and-so, and let's have an understanding about what we're trying to achieve, creating that sense of mutual purpose, right? And so we stopped the meeting.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when I actually met with this person, reported directly to me, and I told them, this is how it occurred for me.
Yeah.
You know, when you made this statement and when this person was trying to speak, and you knew that even though we're on the phone, I know you could hear that person, right? This is how it occurred, that it looked like it occurred for them, right? And then they just stopped talking. And so the person I was talking with said, well, that's not what we needed to happen. And I said,
You're right.
100%.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have had to do that
Yeah,
before,
I've had to do it before.
Yeah.
and it personally, when I'm having a conversation, I've had to do it and say, looks like you're getting passionate, and let's come back in an hour.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
just
Give it
something
some
like
time.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes there's that you're not aware
Yeah.
of what you've just done
Sure.
to somebody. And I think when you think about either families or people that you know so well,
Yeah.
nuclear or extended family, everybody knows each button to push.
That is true.
You know, and to be able to have
Yes.
tools to go,
Yeah.
okay, don't react.
Don't react to that.
Think
Yeah.
about the rational person type of thing,
And-
or whatever else.
And I think part of the
be.
preparation is in those situations, since you know what buttons to push, and since you know they know what buttons to push, prepare yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
So preparation.
Don't
again.
lead with the button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they begin to press yours,
You need
think,
to.
what am I going to do differently?
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah,
I've
you
used
change
this.
the game.
I've used this with you before. Change your story.
Yes.
Right? One of the things, master
Yeah.
your stories. Part of it is listening for the other person's context, and then change your own story.
Based on.
It doesn't mean your story is invalid that you came in
No.
with,
No.
Yeah.
but maybe there's something you need to consider in your own story.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
change your story.
Yeah. Based on the fact.
Yeah, jumping to conclusions ahead of time and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
That was fantastic.
Cool. I'm trying to think if I have any.
If there's anything else that we'll have, of course, the book, and
Yes.
also I'll find the link to the worksheet too, that we
definitely.
can post
Yeah. Yeah.
on our site.
There's a
So-
lot of different places and companies that make it available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
So,
Everybody. Yeah.
you know, one thing
Should be a
too,
nice family retreat. Let's
Yeah.
go to Crucial Conversations training together.
probably some families wish they could.
I probably do.
You know, one of the things too about creating a mutual
Yeah.
purpose, there's another acronym in the book called CRIB, CRIB.
Okay.
CRIB, okay? So commit to seek mutual purpose. So that's the first, this is what I would like to get out of the conversation. And you ask the persons involved
Yeah.
or other person involved. Recognize the purpose behind the strategy. So in other words, if I'm going to set this conversation, and this is the way, you know, I've built it up in my preparation, that type of thing. Why is it that you're leading, that you're going down this path, right? What's the purpose of, again, do you really need to have a conversation with this person,
Or
or is there a different person?
Yeah.
Maybe you might come to that realization. And then if you're completely opposed,
Yeah.
right? Then one thing that the book talks about is invent a mutual purpose. So we can't agree about this.
Yeah.
Can we agree about that?
Okay.
So it's not really invent, but
No,
but
but-
come to another mutual
Yeah.
purpose. Maybe you're not able to get this solved, but maybe there's something else that you could solve,
Yeah.
which could lead to a path to the other one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then, of course, the last one is brainstorm, right?
Oh,
Brainstorm the strategies to get to that
To get there.
conclusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
like
like
that.
that's a really good one because I could see, I mean, when it comes to parents and their kids, like parents may not agree on a certain issue. Like sometimes, whether it's like, when do we give them a phone? When are they
Yeah.
allowed to do this thing or whatever? Like you may be totally opposed, but you know, it's like you could always agree. We want the best for our kids, so let's find a path together. It's like that's an
Yeah.
example that like comes to
Right.
my head for
Yeah,
that for sure.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then I think the last piece, which is the all important one, you just had this conversation. Now what?
Yeah.
What's next?
Yes.
Right?
Because then you end the conversation, but it's like, what did we agree to do next?
Yeah. So dialogue is not decision making. Dialogue is not action.
Yeah.
Okay. So that very
Yeah.
last step of move to
Yeah.
action, right? To agree that you're going to come back together and talk about
Yeah.
whatever. That there's I'm going to go and do this. You're going to go and do that.
Yeah.
You know, to learn more or to find out more, whatever.
Yeah.
And we'll come back and we'll, use it. We'll compare our notes.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if there's something else that we need to visit
Yeah.
about as well. But that just because you have a crucial conversation doesn't mean it's complete.
Yeah. That's
Don't just
true.
get to
Right?
skip off and say, see ya.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish.
I wish that would be me.
And if you don't, and a lot of times, if you're not writing it down, getting your phone
yeah.
out, putting it
Yeah.
into notes, you need to, because you need to
Yeah.
think about this as you're going through it. So, I'm an
Yeah, that's
engineer. Document what you say. Document what you're doing.
Yeah.
And come to that agreement.
Yeah.
So is
That's so
that
That's
last part?
great.
Dialogue is not action,
Dialogue is
Right.
not
right?
action.
So you have a difficult say, and
I love that.
this is how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Can we agree we'll go do this now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll go do it at this time on this day.
Yeah.
Get to that specific.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that too. You told me that. I was like in my head, it's like, well, did you agree on this? Are you gonna? What's the next thing? What are you gonna do next?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because you don't feel it's not complete.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
And
I
then
get. I feel. I get a sense of fulfillment
Yeah.
at
out
the
of
end
that.
because not only did it solve something for me, but hopefully it solved something for the other person
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And I think then there's,
And
if
then-
you don't agree on anything, then there's that awkwardness of like, who does the follow up? Like, what are we? Do I need to go and bug you? Like,
Are you gonna
what?
bug me? Yeah.
Yes. And
Right.
as a younger generation, that is the worst part. The awkwardness of like, am I supposed to be the one to do this?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I'm gonna back off.
Yeah.
It's
But it's important to separate and
Yeah.
know that both of you have the understanding
Yeah.
about what's next.
yes, yeah.
Really important.
Oh, definitely. This stuff.
Especially people that like to check off their lists.
Yes.
Yes. you
Feel
list
some
people.
accomplishment.
Bet.
Yep. I am a list person.
I love it. Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
That's good.
Uh,
Well, this has been great.
yes. So
This has been
hopefully,
so informative.
I'm sure we've got people will listen to this have a
Yeah.
few tools in their toolbox. They'll get the book.
Yeah, the book
Learn
really.
some more.
Because
Yeah.
I know it was written so many. It's been out quite a while, but they've updated. There's a couple
I
new.
make some
Yeah.
new additions.
So they have a
There's
couple.
some
Yeah,
new
they have one
additions.
called Crucial Confrontations.
Oh.
So that's another one. So you know it's about you know that confrontation is going to happen. Now again, it's a crucial conversation.
Yeah.
Typically, that it was like there's a situation that's at hand, and we're
Yeah.
going to have it when we've had this conflict. Crucial.
Yeah.
So,
So
but
you
a
know it's
confrontation is you're walking into a situation,
Yes.
and it's
Yeah.
already not going to be a good.
Yeah.
So
Right,
they have a book
right.
called Crucial Confrontations as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So check those out.
Yes,
Again, we'll put
we'll
all
link
that.
them.
We'll put their website up so y'all
Yes.
can find
Yeah.
it.
Well, thanks
So,
for
thank
being
you.
with us today.
Thanks for having
Yeah.
me. We enjoyed
You
it.
bet.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yes, so we'll link those. Definitely make sure if you have questions, you can always email us or DM us on Instagram. Follow our YouTube. You can always put something in the comments, all that stuff. And then we'll be wrapping up our kind of series. This is our series on voice, how do you use it,
Communication, yeah.
communication. So we'll wrap that up next week.
All right. Look forward to next Tuesday when we take a breath and take a listen.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of An Incomplete Guide to Personal Growth. There are many ways you can stay connected. Follow us on Instagram at An Incomplete Guide Podcast, where you can sign up for our email list and get posts that delve deeper into our weekly topics. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast page wherever you listen to your podcasts. We would really appreciate a rating and sharing us with your family and friends.
We're so glad you chose to spend your time with us and hope there was a thought, a resource, or a laugh that you can take on your journey. We'll be here every Tuesday for you to take a breath and take a listen.